Hello, everybody. Hope you're doing well today. Coming at you with a drawing, doodle, art piece, sketch, all these words that describe the act of putting some ink on this piece of paper, using some pretty wild ink here. The brand of this ink is J Herbin, or Herbin, however you may pronounce that, and the color is Emerald of Chivor, or Chivor, it doesn't really matter what it's called, but it looks pretty wild. The base is sort of like this emerald color. The bottle itself is clearly a green, but the ink itself has a lot of complexity to it. It's got a lot of reds, purples, and a gold shimmer behind everything. I will say that I'm pretty sure this ink is intended for fountain pens, as you need to shake the bottle in order to get all the gold flakes mixed up well within the bottle. And I have tried it with a fountain pen, and it really does give a different effect than what I'm doing here. The gold, at the very least, becomes a lot more consistent when you've shaken the bottle and kept it in that state, which a fountain pen would be able to do. Here, during this whole doodle, I think I only shook the bottle a total like 3 or 4 times, and each time the gold would be at the top, and so you'll see some like concentrations of gold in some areas of the drawing, and then no gold at all in other parts, which is pretty random, but I can accept that. It gives a pretty interesting effect, and I will say that as it dries, the color just continues to change. First, it's sort of like a dark green, but then eventually it turns into a reddish color, maybe a little bit of purple showing up here and there, and if the gold is there, that'll just dominate whatever else kind of color is available there, because the speckles are much more visible than the ink itself. I think this goes down as the fanciest ink that I own now, which is pretty cool. I definitely think that it's my favorite ink now because of just how much more complex of a color this is. With most other inks that I've used, I noticed that it's got a very, very set color, and you can sort of play with how intense the color comes off. So you might have saturated spot, like a ton of ink, and that'll turn out darker than if you were to just let the nib dry out a tiny bit and then draw with the lightest amount of ink possible, and that'll come out to be a lighter tint. But this ink right here, you can really achieve anything with it. It's pretty random. If you like a lot of colors, I think that you would love this ink. The only problem is that if you wanted to control it, I feel like it's almost impossible, because if you wanted to put gold into one area and red in another, I feel like you just end up getting the opposite effect. The only thing is with this drawing, because I'm dipping, if I shake up the bottle, I know for a fact that my next few dips are going to be a higher concentration of gold than the rest of the drawing. But I don't think I really took much advantage of that. The other thing that would be pretty cool for this ink is just some calligraphy. I mean, here I'm just doing some doodles, making some lines, playing with them line widths. I shade a little bit in this drawing. I think and looking back at it now, maybe I could have shaded a little bit more, but I'm happy with how it is right here. I will say, dipping with this pen, it isn't exactly the best for drawing. I found a lot of kind of oopsie moments, a lot of happy little accidents, as Bob Ross might say. Just because of how long it takes for the ink to dry and how saturated of an ink it is. I ended up having my hand run through pools of ink a few times in this drawing, which, I mean, it's not the worst thing in the world. Usually what I'll do is just incorporate the oopsie into the drawing. I mean, I will say that at some point, I think I just accidentally leave like a whole dot of ink on the opposite page from this drawing, but sometime I'll just have to do another drawing with this ink and see how it goes. I will say that the biggest issue that I experienced is just with this paper, because it bled through 2 pages, which is quite a lot. I always feel bad whenever ink bleeds through my sketchbook, because it's definitely kind of discouraging to then draw something on top of the bleed. And especially when you have some sort of valuable work on the other side, it almost feels kind of risky to use a saturated ink like this, and just in case you end up ruining some other piece. But I guess it's all part of the art, part of the process. If it happens, it happens. Bit of story time. There was one time I was on a flight to California. It's like a 8-hour flight from here, and there was really nothing better to do than to use the opportunity to draw. But you know how drawing on a plane might be. Turbulence is a absolute nightmare, and what ended up happening was drawing, I think it was like a mandala. I was drawing a mandala, and I remember a flight attendant coming around with drinks, and so I got some orange juice. You know, I'm a big fan of the citrus, big fruits. But yeah, got some orange juice. Was continuing to draw, sipping my OJ. At some point, I accidentally bumped the orange juice. That was a lot of orange juice spilled onto my sketchbook. I definitely freaked out in the moment, but I just grabbed some napkins and started wiping and left some interesting streaks, Sometimes a mistake can completely change your perspective on a drawing. Anyway, I had a lot of fun drawing this doodle. Hope y'all had some fun watching it. Let me know what you thought of this commentary, this video, this drawing. Leave a like if you liked it. Subscribe if you want to watch more. And until next time, peace.